Good evening, you're watching This Week, a weekly news review program. I'm your host, Taner Gambatar. And for top stories we have, provinces should consult the National Emergency Commission on imposing a lockdown. National dialogue on sustainable food systems was held in Mongolia. Mandate and uniform has been given to the National Olympic team. And for the news, stay tuned. The new CHINGGIS International Airport, built with a soft loan from the government of Japan, launched its first international flight on July 4th from Ulaanbaatar city to Tokyo City, operated by Mongolian Airlines.
Since its opening in 1957, the former CHINGGIS International Airport, now known as Pointe-Noire International Airport, has served many international and domestic passengers, expanding its operations to meet the growing demand in Mongolia's transport and tourism industry. However, the airport is surrounded by hills to the south and east, and its single short runway makes it difficult for planes to land and take off from the airport in different directions. Due to the geographical location and limited resources of the airport, the government of Mongolia and the government of Japan cooperated to build a new airport in Tuv province, 50 kilometers south of Ulaanbaatar. The new airport meets international standards and utilizes advanced Japanese technology. The total cost for building the new airport reached almost $603 million. The project was launched on June 6, 2013 and was completed in April 2021. With a passenger service terminal area of 35,000 square meters, the new airport can serve 2 million passengers per year. The new Ulaanbaatar International Airport project included the construction of 30 buildings, an air traffic control tower, an operations building, fuel system facilities, airplane hangars, maintenance facilities, fire and rescue, heating facilities, airport security facilities, and 3,600-meter-long, 45-meter-wide concrete runway. The airport was built as a joint venture between Mitsubishi Corporation and Kyoto Corporation and will be operated by the Civil Aviation Authority of Mongolia. It meets all the requirements of the International Civil Aviation Organization. Japan and Mongolia expect the new airport to contribute to Mongolia's economic development, creating new opportunities for the tourism, freight, and transport industries. The Japan Bank for International Cooperation provided loan funding for the project in May 2008. The loan will be repaid after the next 40 years, with the government of Mongolia setting aside 10% of its annual state budget for loan payments. The new airport will operate flights offered by Mongolian and international carriers including Mongolian Airlines, Air Mongolia, Hunu Air, Air China, Aeroflot, Turkish Airlines, Korean Air, and Air Busan.
The Cabinet of Mongolia convened on July 7th and instructed provinces to consult the National Emergency Commission when imposing a lockdown.
Information on the pandemic situation was provided. To date, 30,000 cases of infections have been reported in 20 provinces of Mongolia. Restrictions are imposed in 196 SOMs in 6 villages of 18 provinces due to the growing number of COVID-19 cases. 101 SOMs of 13 provinces plan to have their curfews lifted before the Nadam holidays. According to a government decision, there will be a 9-day holiday from July 9th to 19th. In addition, the number of people visiting rural areas is expected to increase sharply due to the summer holidays. In this regard, the government included the following directions: to continue strict lockdowns and curfews in areas with major import and export ports, restrict traffic until ports return to normal operation. Provinces will not set restrictions independently. Restrictions and quarantine shall be set only after consulting with the National Emergency Commission. Citizens traveling to provinces are not allowed to stay with local people and shall only stay at tourist camps and resorts. Fully vaccinated citizens or those who have already recovered from COVID-19 can travel to the provinces. One child per family who is older than 5 years of age shall be tested for COVID-19 by rapid test at the checkpoints.
During the meeting, Prime Minister Oyut instructed related officials to intensify the establishment of the Tamiot Free Zone. By intensifying this free zone operation, Mongolia expects to increase exports threefold by 2034.
More than 1 billion Mongolian Turkish will be allocated from the government's reserve fund for testing and setting the thermal power plant, water supply and sewerage system as part of the Zamiot infrastructure improvement project. Although the construction of the Zamiot free zone is expected to be completed and commissioned in 2026, the Prime Minister of Mongolia, Oyurden, has instructed to open the free zone by this summer. By opening the free zone, it is expected that exports and imports will increase, factories will develop, new trade and service sectors will be created, direct jobs will be created, construction and tourism industry will expand, the advanced technology will be introduced, increased transit, transportation and logistics. For example, by 2026, the number of investors is expected to reach 70 and 9,400 jobs will be created. Exports are expected to increase threefold by 2034. With foreign investment reaching $2.9 billion and creating about 18,000 jobs.
Mongolia's key players in the food sector have been discussing how to make the national food system safer, stronger and more sustainable. Details are in the following report.
The government of Mongolia and the United Nations jointly convened a national dialogue on food systems in Mongolia on 8th of July 2021. Bringing together key players in the food systems in Mongolia, the dialogue facilitated an open discussion on what it takes for Mongolia to sustainably transform its food systems that will accelerate progress towards achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Evidence, ideas and commitments gained at the National Food Systems Dialogue in Mongolia will not only contribute to the Global Food Systems Summit to be convened by UN Secretary-General in September 2021, but more importantly, they will help Mongolia itself to unleash new actions and innovative solutions and strategies to rebuild the national food systems and deliver progress across all sustainable development goals.
Issues related to the food and health systems need to be addressed comprehensively. Creating sustainable food systems will not only improve human development and quality of life, but also make a significant contribution to the country's sustainable social and economic development.
Mongolia has a significant potential to transition to sustainable food systems that is already underway. This would require technological innovation, strategic use of economic incentives, cohesive and participative governance, and behavioral changes of all stakeholders.
If Mongolia is to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, its food systems must change.
One is, this came up quite prominently that there is a need to strengthen food consumption, production, and food system statistics, particularly when it comes to food composition data, the dietary surveys, the surveillance, the dietary diversity surveillance. I think Mongolia needs to invest a bit more on the systems and statistics. There is also a need for a massive push for nutrition education, dietary diversity, and minimization of food waste. And this needs to happen at all levels, starting from children in the primary school, all the way up to the adults, through public education, through school curriculums, and through other means of education.
Leading up to this national dialogue, the food sector experts have convened 6 regional and thematic dialogues among specific groups such as the private sector, youth, and civil society to listen to their voices and concerns in the transformation of food systems. These food systems dialogue gave Mongolia an opportunity to address the current state of the food systems in the country, including challenges and opportunities, and agree on actions and solutions to build a sustainable food system in the next 10 years and what can be done in the next 3 to 5 years.
Handover of the 25th kindergarten new building was held on July 9th. The kindergarten was rebuilt with the support of the United Arab Emirates government. The ceremony was attended by 3rd Secretary of the United Arab Emirates Embassy in Mongolia and Member of Parliament Sokhwater and other officials. The Embassy of the United Arab Emirates in Mongolia has resolved the investment issue and demolished the old building of kindergarten number 25 and have built a new one. The kindergarten has a new basement floor that meets modern standards. Also, the capacity has been increased, making it possible to receive up to 240 children. Maktoum Rashid Said Olaivi Al-Habsi, 3rd Secretary of the United Arab Emirates Embassy in Ulaanbaatar, and Sokhwater, Member of Parliament, and other officials attended the ceremony.
With the Emirates, we've been enjoying very good, productive relationship. one of the first, projects, big, impactful projects that we implemented on a bilateral basis is the hydropower plant in the Gobi Altai IMEC. And now this hydropower plant has changed the microclimate out in the region, and it's providing electricity to very far remote areas of Mongolia. And it's not just kindergarten, it's, every kindergarten is an integral part of our early education of children. So from this perspective, again, it's a very impactful project. Now, this is 25th kindergarten in Sukhpatar district, and this is the 25th anniversary of Mongolia, United Arab Emirates diplomatic relationship. So it's also very symbolic, So therefore, our choice should be always on strengthening friendship, mutual understanding, dialogue. And this is an example of how fruitful friendship can be.
Also, the United Arab Emirates government has helped to build some 100 children kindergartens in Hinti and Darngol provinces, respectively. Mongolia and the United Arab Emirates established diplomatic relations in 1996, and friendly relations and cooperation between the two countries have been expanding year by year. The trade turnover between United Arab Emirates and Mongolia is $3.8 million, and the United Arab Emirates investment in Mongolia since 2011 has been $15.1 million, but these figures have been increasing in recent years. The United Arab Emirates provides a $13 million soft loan for the construction of the Taisher hydropower plant. The government has also provided $1 million each to fight environmental pollution and protect birds, as well as modern medical equipment for the Barnur District Health Center and computers at some schools in Ulaanbaatar city. A total of more than $350,000 was provided for the supply of water treatment equipment and the renovation of the children's reading room at the Natsagdor Central Library in Ulaanbaatar city. The United Arab Emirates opens its embassy in Ulaanbaatar in 2016. The Parliament of Mongolia decided to open the Embassy of Mongolia in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, on October 11, 2019. A plan to boost Mongolia's economic and social development in 3 directions was launched. According to the plan, 263 projects will be implemented with a total budget of 10 trillion MNT.
The development plan, which has been developed for the year 2022, comprises 6 groups such as human development, economy, governance, and green development. In the past, the Ministry of Finance launched a program to improve the economy every year. For the first time, the National Development Agency plans to develop the country in 1 year. The plan is aimed at overcoming the social and economic hardships due to the pandemic before anything else, while also focusing on projects to be implemented in the capital and rural areas. The budget for the plan is estimated to be around 10 trillion Mongolian tugriks.
The plan mainly focuses on projects in the health and education sectors. Certain factors are limiting economic growth in our country. What hinders economic development the most is regarded to be infrastructure, logistics, and energy sector issues. Thus, the solutions to these issues have come into sharp focus in our plan. They can be resolved if we try to deal with them on an annual basis. We cannot keep the tradition of attempting to address these big issues only before elections.
To develop the next year's plan, projects and activities conducted in 2020 were evaluated. Last year, 127 activities were planned, which achieved a success rate of 75%. The plan to develop the country until 2023 has been devised following next year's budget expectations and the 10 trillion Mongolian tugriks budget to plan boost employment. The plan to develop the country until 2023 has been devised following next year's budget expectations and the 10 trillion Mongolian tugrik budget plan to boost employment. The funding of the plan is said to be achieved by the state budget as well as foreign loans and grants. Also, it was said that economically inefficient projects have to stop being funded, as there are lots of other projects that are seen as highly promising in solving poverty and unemployment.
Parliament approved the law on the year-long plan, but it was also stated not to put an excess burden on the 2022 state budget. A concession agreement between public and private entities was made in order not to cause any additional burden on the budget due to the year-long plan. Like this, there are lots of other complex aspects to be addressed in implementing the plan.
Studies show that the rate of nationwide COVID-19 vaccination, potential virus variants, price fluctuations of the main mineral exports, and sudden climate change are perceived as potential threats to the implementation of the next year's plan. They say that the development plan was devised after studying the threats and risks, and now the projects of building new power plants, power cables, and power distribution centers in 10 provinces have met with an 80% success rate. As a result, the quality of life of citizens has improved, and 7 SUMs and 23 bugs were connected to fiber optic cables, allowing them to get connected to high-speed internet. Additionally, considerable progress is said to have been made in the health and education sectors.
The 32nd Summer Olympic Games, also known as Tokyo 2020, are set to begin on 23rd of July. The ceremony of handing over the uniforms and participants' mandates to the athletes representing Mongolia at the Olympics started on Monday, July 5th.
In order to determine the designers of the Mongolian ethnic sports and ceremonial clothes for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, a professional competition was announced in 2019. A total of 10 designers submitted their designs and Michel Amazonka LLC was selected. As of today, a total of 44 athletes will compete in 10 sports, including 3x3 basketball, table tennis, and the judo team category. Today's event was attended by T.S. Sharajams, chairman of the Mongolian National Olympic Committee, E. Billick, head of the National Team Policy Implementation Division, B. Erden Vanchik, head of the Sports Medicine and Research Center, T. Amajargul, executive board member of the Mongolian National Olympic Committee, and Tokyo Olympic Foundation manager B. Unubata, and they all wished the athletes success. Mongolia, which first participated in the 1964 Olympics, will participate in the second Olympics in the island nation's capital. Mongolian teams and athletes currently have 40 Olympic berths and 13 sports categories, and 8 Paralympic berths in 6 sport categories. In addition, for the first time, Mongolia has won the right to participate in team sports and table tennis. It is also the first time for Mongolian National Olympic Team to participate in 10 different sports.
During the meeting of the sub-working group to prepare for the Olympic Games, judoka Durunbayır and basketball player Holon were selected as the flag bearers of the Mongolian national team to participate in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics based on proposals submitted by sports associations. The International Olympic Committee has a policy of ensuring gender equality and increasing the role of women in sports and the Olympic movement. In accordance with the policy, male and female athletes were selected as the team's flag bearers. Durunbayır was born in 1994 and he will represent Mongolia in judo in the plus 100 kg weight category. He's a bronze medalist of the World Judo Championships, double bronze medalist of the Asian Games, bronze medalist of the Asian Championships, and gold medal of the World Army Championships. He's one of the best heavyweight judokas in Mongolia. Holon was born in 1999 and is the youngest basketball player graduated from the National University of Mongolia. A member of the 5th place team at the Under-23 3x3 World Cup, and she is currently ranked 70th in the world and 11th in the Under-23 rankings. A ceremony to pay tribute to the Mongolian team participating in the Olympic Games and hand over the national flag will be held at the Government Palace on Friday. The Mongolian national team leader and flag bearers will receive the national flag from President Khursuhokhna, according to the Mongolian National Olympic Committee. Well, that's all for this week. Have a nice Nadam, and we will see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.